In this video, we're going to focus on creating goals in Strive. So Strive is our application for attaching appraisal with professional development and goal setting. So we're going to get started just by clicking on Strive from the main application screen. When I first go into Strive, I'm going to have access to 3 tabs across the top here. For this specific video, we're going to focus on these 2 tabs, goals and evaluations. Before we get started on setting a new goal, it's really important that when you first log in to Strive, you make sure that at the very top of the screen where your name appears, that there's something selected here as your appraisee type. If it says not set, you need to contact your appraiser to let them know that they need to select you on their end so that they can tie the appraisee type to you. This is very important that it's done before you do your goal setting. If it says not set, you'll want to pause this recording, make sure that's done so that when you come in, you'll have your appraisee type set. It's very important that that's done before you do the goal setting. So in our case, Baxter Adkins is going to be evaluated as a T-Test teacher full, and all staff, we're recommending that everybody for this year go to their evaluations tab first before going into the goals tab. And the reason is your district may have outlined the evaluation process for your appraisee type. On my screen, it's showing the evaluation process has several specific tasks that take place during the course of the year. There's goal setting, walkthroughs, observation, and a summative conference. All of this has been outlined for this specific type of teacher. For goal setting, where we're going to focus, there's 3 different types of goals here that have been set. And the reason is because I'm using a demo and I want to show all the different types of forms that are used out there. This first one is a teacher goal. It's using a form, and wherever there is a plus button on my evaluations tab, it indicates that it's something that I need to initiate. So to complete this task for goal setting, Baxter has to click the plus button to access the template for completing that form. So it's going to pull up a screen like this. It's going to say which template and today's date. And this is a drop-down menu so that I can select from here the form I will use. In your view, you may have multiple forms to select from, so you want to make sure to select the form that your district has outlined for you to choose. It's just a matter of selecting it and then create the evaluation. Once you click that, it's going to open the form for you to enter in all the information, fill out the checkboxes as needed, type in your information, and then when you're ready, you'll submit to your appraiser. At the very top of this form, I wanted to make sure that you saw you have the ability to, inside the form, send a message to your appraiser. So if you have questions, this is where you can message directly with your appraiser. And then your appraiser has the same access to submit responses so that your entire conversation can be tracked inside this specific form about the contents of the form itself. Once you have everything selected and all your comments you've filled out, you will click the Submit to Appraiser button. I'm going to go ahead and click that button so we can see what happens. And it shows you the status that it was submitted. It would still track the conversation that would be in here if there was a conversation. I'm going to close this. I'm going to go to my Evaluations tab, and you can see it's showing that I have opened this document. It was created on this date, and the status of the document is it's been submitted. When it is approved by my appraiser, it will show in the status approval and the date that it was approved. Another type of form would be our professional goals button. Same plus button exists next to that specific task. If I click on this plus button, it's going to open up the form where I can enter in my goal, enter in the success, what the goal success looks like. I can tag the specific dimensions. These dimensions need to match your appraisee type, and then I can put specific action. Okay, so I have added some information to be part of my goal here. I've even put in a completion date. I've selected my standards and put in a specific action to be completed. Once I have all of this, I'm going to scroll all the way down and click the Save button. And this opens my goal in the same type of window as that previous form, where I can access information for submitting for approval. I can copy it to a new goal. I still can delete if I need to, save, print, and close this to go back to my evaluations tab. Inside this goal, if I scroll down just a little bit more, it also has messaging, so I can message my appraiser before submitting for approval to make sure that the goal is on track with what we may have discussed last year or goals for the start of this school year. So messaging exists below your standards and tags. Evidence is where you can track any types of artifacts and evidence that you're collecting over the course of a year as you work on your goal. So even before I submit for approval and after it is approved, I can access this goal through the Evaluations tab or the Goals tab. When I open my goals, I can be adding the evidence that I would take with me to my summative to present before my appraiser to show how I've been working on that goal. So again, this is just tracking that information. When I'm ready, I can submit for approval. I'm going to go ahead and submit this one to approval, and I'm going to close this tab. So now it is showing, as part of the evaluation process, my goal statement, the status, and this button for remove does not remove it or delete it from the system. What it does is it removes it as part of the evaluation process. So it took it out of the process, but if I go to my goals tab, I can see all of these different goals that I might have created in the past, including the goal that I just created for today. It just lets me see it along a timeline view. And each one of these goals is clickable, so I can actually see the information, make changes to it as needed, and then submit if I have not done so. The last type of goal is a student growth goal. This is new for this year, especially in Texas with our Texas customers. Student growth goals are where you can actually create a type of goal that works similarly to the professional goal. You enter in your goal statement. You enter in what goal success looks like. But instead of tagging by specific dimension, you're going to drill into the learning standards for whatever it is that you're teaching, and then tag those specific learning standards. You can add the actions. It doesn't have a requirement that you must have a specific action, but if you need to list your actions and strategies used to evaluate student growth, you can put those in here and then put in the end date overall for this student growth goal. Okay, so I've created some goal information in here and I'm ready to save it, to work on it, and then submit to my appraiser. Messaging is also available in here, so before you submit for approval, you can have a conversation with your appraiser to make sure that your student learning is on track before you submit for approval. And just like with a professional goal, adding evidence is available. I'm going to close this, and I'm still in my evaluations tab to see this information. And that concludes how to create a goal. We're going to have more information on what to do with these goals in other videos.